We're now ready to clone and push the microservice application to our installation of Helion Development Platform. For convenience, we'll use our installer system, and we have to get it ready by first installing Git, at which point we can clone the microservice to this machine. Change into that microservice directory. The next step is from our development platform, from the main login page of the console. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a download the client link. From this link, we want to click on other platforms and right-click, copy the link address to the Linux x86-64 client. From our installer host, we can use wget to download the Linux client. Now, because the SSL certificate for our installation of Helion Development Platform is not signed by a certificate authority, the wget command either must specify a no-check certificate or change the HTTPS to HTTP. Now, in order to unzip the Helion client on this installer, we first have to get the unzip package and install it, at which point we can unzip the Helion client. For convenience, we'll copy the Helion client into user bin, at which point we should be able to use the Helion client. We want to capture this part of the URL to our Helion Development Platform environment. We then use the Helion client to target that URI, at which point we can do a Helion login, and the username is the username you set up during the installation and the password that you set up. Now that we're logged in, the first thing we need to do is add our MongoDB service to Helion. We do this using the Helion client and calling create-service, identifying that this is a user-provided service and giving it a name of mongo-helion demo. The credentials we need are host, port, and database. The host corresponds to the IP address for our MongoDB instance. The port is the default 27017 for MongoDB, and the database is survey, which we created earlier. We can now ask Helion to show us available services, and we see our MongoDB service as a user-provided service. We're now ready to deploy our microservice. We do this by calling Helion push from the directory where we cloned our application files. We accept yes, we do want to deploy from the current directory, and we choose our IP address .xip.io as the domain name for this application, and we can accept or override, and we accept the default application URL that was generated, the default Go version, and it asks if we want to bind existing services. And we choose yes, and we choose one to bind our mongo-helion demo service. We don't want to bind any other services, and we don't want to create any services. In the Helion console, we can now see that under Applications, we have a survey application, and the log stream shows the progress the app is making during the staging process. This same information is relayed back to the Helion command line client. Once staging is complete, the application is then deployed. When the application is done being deployed, a URL is provided on which you can access your new service. We see the same information in the log stream through the Helion Development Platform console. In the next video, we'll learn how to use the new service that we've just deployed.